One thing I've noticed about people who date younger women as they keep getting older is like, I feel like they have a Barbie doll template, or they have a template in their mind and they keep going for girls this exact same kind. And like the older they get, that template will always stay the same.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to? There is nothing I can say.
Hi, welcome to Mayowa's world. Okay, so I have been gone from YouTube for about a month and a half. Obviously, your girl's going through a transition, but I will talk about that in another video. Today's video, I want to get into it pretty quickly and get to my point because I have somewhere I need to be afterwards. But something that I'm bringing to this video is, I'm trying to bring nicer audio. I'm trying to bring a nicer setup. I'm trying to bring nicer equipment. So that's also what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to level up my shit. Trying not to get my video demonetized. I'm trying to level up so that I'm able to bring like the best level of production that I can bring. So today's topic is something that's a little bit tabooed to discuss, but I have a lot of opinions about, and it's been really on my mind recently. And the topic I'm gonna talk about today is age gap relationships. So for those who don't know, like an age gap relationship is a relationship where there is like an exponential amount of years between two partners. And this isn't exclusive to hetero relationships. This isn't exclusive to cisgendered relationships. This is exclusive to this is like literally just something I see across the board. I see it in the gay community. I see it in the queer community. I see it in the straight community. And it's like, I just really want to say what I'm observing and use like things that are happening in media as kind of representation. So if you're new to my channel, I often can critique things going on in media culture, popular culture, and kind of draw parallels between what I see from day to day and what I see in Hollywood or just particularly within like the Black community. That's always kind of what I focus on as well. So take a little seat and like, let's get into it. Also, I wanted to talk about what books and what music I'm listening to. So, I've been in my sci-fi bag, and I have been reading this book called Lagoon by Nnedi Okorafor. And it's like a sci-fi book that takes place in Nigeria, which is like really cool. I'm curious to know what books you're reading, particularly if it's sci-fi or fantasy, because that's like the kind of books I'm really enjoying. And I have been listening to a lot of Doechii. Oh my God, Doechii is so freaking cute. I love the song Crazy, and I love, what other song do I like? Girls. What music from Black artists have you guys been listening to, and what books from Black writers have you guys been reading? So something that I've been like really like observing is right now I'm 30 years old, and I feel like obviously I'm still have a lot of life left in me, I hope. And I have, I've gone through my 20s, my early 20s and my late 20s. And something that I've realized within my early 20s and late 20s, especially my early 20s, was the amount of older people were pursuing me and what I thought was normal. Because, I think when you get out of high school, you have this urge and desire for independence, which you are worthy of having. And so, I think that there's something that happens where you believe that you kind of know what's best for yourself in that way, and you're able to take care of yourself and you're able to keep yourself safe. So you may date somebody older than you. But now that I've gotten older, I realize like how those dynamics were problematic. Let's use that word. And so I'm going to use something like things that I've seen in media that have really just kind of triggered my discourse on why I don't like age gap relationships, and how I feel like we really normalize it and like make it seem like it's kind of a cool thing to do versus like having critique. But one thing about your girl, I love a good discourse, so I'm gonna get into it. So there's like someone that came to my mind, like when I observed the relationship I've seen between Diddy and Carisha. Carisha is from City Girls, and Diddy is 53. Carisha is 28, Diddy's 53, and like right now they're speculated of being together, of having romantic relationships. And like, I just don't see anyone asking why someone that old is with a girl that young. Like I just wish that there was dialogue. And one thing I've noticed about people who date younger women as they keep getting older is like, I feel like they have a Barbie doll template, or they have a template in their mind and they keep going for girls this exact same kind. And like the older they get, that template will always stay the same. His first girlfriend, obviously she was young because she was the same age as him, or his first wife, Kim Porter. And then the other women that he's been speculated with, like it's all kind of a similar build. And like even within, like except with the exception of Kim Porter, like most of the girls that Diddy has talked to have been light skinned, and they've all kind of been within like the same age range. And even though his age keeps increasing, the people who he's pursuing is staying the same. And it reminds me of a Barbie doll. Like and the thing that I think happens, and what I've noticed as I have gotten older and observed people who do date younger women, is that they will continue to, sorry, the fucking lawnmower. Something that I have noticed is that as they get older, the girl stays the exact same. And so that happened as well with like Leonardo DiCaprio. Like Leonardo DiCaprio also was someone who has been like seen with a lot of people who are within the same age range. And I just think that, you know, when you're young like that and someone approaches you, you know, you really feel like you're that girl. You feel like you're unique. You feel like you're special. But it's like they're after your youth, and like youth is not sustainable. And to me, what ends up happening is that they end up leaving. Like often they will end up leaving for someone younger. Like they're just chasing the newness to it. And I think that I do believe it is rooted in something. Yeah, I don't want to get dragged. I don't want to like say too much of how I feel, because then I feel like I don't want to get attacked. And this is my first video back, you know what I'm saying? So my skin's a little bit more sensitive. I'm more, you know, I don't have the thick skin yet, but I really don't like it. And I remember watching this like video when people were talking about like Jay-Z and Beyonce's relationship, which also has an age gap. And something that I also know within age gap relationships is the ways in which like men will pursue people, or like kind of wait for someone to get of age, which is like, or right when they get of age, like that is like where they're going. And I really hate that so much, like especially seeing when I was younger and seeing friends go through that same cycle. But I was like listening to this interview where they were talking about how like Jay-Z was dating Beyonce, and while she was on the set of Check Up On It with like Bumpy, I forgot the man's name, but this the rapper that was on the song, how like allegedly Jay-Z was the person who was calling and asking if like men were looking at her. And like I feel like even like it's a trade-off, you know? So when you're with somebody who's so much older, like you do get a sense of security, or like financial security or whatever. But it seems to be like at the expense of a lot of people's independence, a lot of people's autonomy. And something that I've observed just within my own like friendship groups of seeing people is that like a lot of times people don't want the younger person to experience their youth. Like they're kind of rushing them into being like what they are assuming to be of like a housewife, or a wife, or a husband, you know, because I don't want to also make it seem like it's just one gendered, because, you know, I'm saying as someone who's a part of the eligibility community, it's something that I also observe that happens as well, is like there's, especially like, I just think that people kind of are like, you know, love is love, but like we don't have discourse on power dynamics, on what that says, on like what that means in society. And like for me being 30, I have absolutely no business with someone that's even 20. Like, and I don't even mean that as in like I'm more advanced, because I don't believe that. So with that being said, like I know that there are people who are 20 and have like so much emotional capacity, but do I feel like I want to have a romantic relationship with someone who's 20? No. What I feel though is I feel like I really want to guide them. I really want to help them and support them to see them, you know, do better than me, and see them be the best self that they can be. And one of my best friends is like 22, I think. And I just really want the world for her. I want her to succeed. I want her to do really, really well. Shout out to Miley. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's like how that's how I feel. I don't feel a romantic relationship. And I realize as well, like for me growing up, I've always had a fear of older men, because I've always felt like that line could easily be crossed. And I'm curious if you all have felt that same dynamic, if you all have felt that same way. But I think that kind of stuff is it just like lets me know that like the idea of mentorship and like the idea of supporting people, when people see women trying to come up, they see that as an opportunity to like take. I think a lot of people view women as something to take, like, oh, she's cute, she has youth, I want to take it, I want to consume it. Instead of being like, wow, this person has so much, let me shield them from more problems that they could potentially have. Like, I think, and like I said, I just feel like when I reflect back on the way my brain was set up at 22, a lot of me is still the same, but I just think there's something that I just could not have anticipated. There's not like, and someone who is older definitely can and has seen patterns and does know. And like for me, I personally wouldn't date somebody who has a track record of dating younger people. I just wanted to talk about dynamics that I often feel like are very weird within age gap relationships. It's like sometimes they can be really financially abusive. But yeah, like I said, you know, I know a lot of people have parents who have age gap relationships and they're like, well, everything worked just fine. But I just kind of push us to to still have critique. Like something I've learned from growing up is that I saw my parents do things and it worked, but it doesn't mean that that is what I am taking into my future. And I just hope for people who are young, they don't think it's normal to be, well, I don't know. I use normal as like a reminder for myself that this like patriarchy, white supremacist, misogynistic, transphobic system, anti-Black system is always going to be preying on marginalization. So when I say normal, I use normal in the way to remind myself that like seeing someone who's 60 pursuing somebody who's 20 something is not normal. You're old enough to be someone's grandfather. And I just, it makes me so mad. Like, and people feel like when an older person is with someone young, especially like an older man's with somebody young, people are like, oh, you're that guy. Like, I feel like we should bring back shaming. Like, no, like, so, that's not cool. Like, why are we big upping grandfather to granddaughter relationships? Why are we big upping mother to daughter relationships, son to dad to son? I don't like it. So yeah, I'm all for like that just being away, but I want to have discourse because I feel like when I was younger, I thought it was normal. I thought it was cool. I thought it was the thing to do. And like I said, my message to younger people is like, don't feel pressured or insecure. Or if someone is making you feel insecure about your age, like if you're younger and someone's like, oh my God, you're only like, let me tell you this much about your age. Like, which is what a lot of people who are older do. They try to like shame you for not knowing enough. Run for the hills. Run for the hills. Like, I wish power dynamics were studied more. I wish we had more of a lens on like just imbalances, just like someone who's so much older with someone who's so much younger. Like, and people are like, oh, this person just wants their money. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't ever blame the younger person for what they're doing in that relationship. I'm only looking at the older person. Like, why are you dating? Like, yeah, you know she wants your money, but like that's still, no. I don't like the way that we accept that from older people. I really don't like that. And you know too, I feel like the older you get, the less checked you are. Like nobody want to check an elder. Nobody want to be like, bro, you ate. Like I was at Walmart the other day and I got hit on by a man that was like 70. And I got really mad. And my mom was like, nah, don't worry. Like, you know, ignore him. No, I feel like I should be screaming at him. Like, I'm young enough to be your granddaughter. Are you okay? Are you okay? Like, that's why I don't want to keep normalizing it and keep ignoring it. It's really not okay. It's very predatory. So yeah, you know, I'm coming back with a video with a little bit of fire, a little bit of vim, but I am curious about you guys' relationship to that. I'm curious about what is the time frame that you have between that you think is okay. Personally, I think I'm anything more than 5 years, I'm kind of like, And I say that 5 years after probably like the age of like 25 or 26, because I still feel like I said, like your brain is still trying to be the best brain it can be, you know? And that's how I feel. So like anyone after 25, 26, like 5 years, it's okay. But then when you get to 8 or 10, but yeah, I'm curious about everyone else's opinion. Yeah.